Welcome everybody back to another episode of The Cover 2, episode 26. We are presented by Tigervision. Grayson Mann, Patrick Neal, as always. We're doing this a day later. We decided, I can't even remember.
School's not fun.
Yes, yeah, school's busy right now. We are nearing the end of the semester, so got to finish strong, prioritize school. Unlike Cardale Jones, we did come here to play school, but we're here. We're here.
Is Cardale Jones the quarterback that beat that kid in the hospital like 94 by 94 points?
Oh yeah, a lot of
true
points.
Showman, a true sport.
I'm sorry. Sorry to interrupt you.
No, you're good. I just wanted to.
Funny story, by the way.
Yeah.
When I tore my ACL, my mom got Cardale Jones to send me a video.
Really?
About it on.
Send you like his gamer tag, and he's like, screwed.
What's the service where like you have famous people send you videos? Cameo.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was on there. So, real nice guy. So, you know, despite what you may think by him destroying a kid in NCAA.
Real not nice guy when it comes to the video games.
He's just competitive. He's just competitive.
I can't blame him. At some point, you have to lay down the law and just say, hey, when I play as Ohio State, it's go time.
Mm-hmm.
Or like in this case,
exactly.
When
He's got
I play
championship mentality.
Like if my 4-year-old cousin plays as South Carolina on that game, it's no mercy.
Exactly.
No mercy.
Exactly. But anyways, we're going to do a little bit of college football stuff today. So it came out today actually that JT Daniels is going to West Virginia.
Back to our roots.
He had entered the transfer portal and decided today that he's going to West Virginia. So we decided we're going to give out a few grades on the transfer QBs, what we think about them. We aren't going to be able to get to all of them because it is absolutely crazy.
There's like 14 of them.
There's probably even more that we haven't even thought of. But we're going to try and get to as many as we can, get to most of the high-profile names, and we'll give our thoughts on them. And
some of these grades might not be like, for example, there might be a harsher grade for one or the other. We're not necessarily talking about the player because some other factors like the current state of a program, fit, does the quarterback line up with that team and what they're trying to do. So if someone gets a D, for example, it's not because I don't like you. It's just because the current program is just a mess.
And I think also it's kind of tough, to give out grades because in all honesty, when you add a player to your program, most of the time it's going to be a positive thing.
Yeah, there's not a lot of stories where the transfer is necessarily a negative thing because it's not like free agency where there's a lot of other factors just going. You just go to that school and there's just less to worry about, I guess. There's not as many factors. So all of these could be solid contributors in 2022.
Oh yeah,
we'll just have to see.
But we're just gonna kind of grade them on a combination of factors, like we said. But anyways, first up, we'll talk about JT Daniels. So as I said, it came out today that he will be going to West Virginia. Funny enough, Graham Harrell is now on the staff at West Virginia, and he was his former offensive coordinator at USC. While he was at USC, he went a combined 241 for 397 passing attempts, almost 3,000 yards, 16 touchdowns, and 11 interceptions. And I believe his second season, he only played like maybe 1 or 2 games because he got injured.
Yeah. So the story of JT Daniels is fascinating because he had such a solid. Everyone was like, okay, this is the next big. This guy's going to be big time.
The next Sam Darnold.
Yeah. Well, that didn't work out. But I think for Daniels, it's always just about finding the right footing. And because of Georgia, he came in for those games and he played really well. And then he
played all right.
Beat Clemson in the opener, and he never really could stay healthy. And Stetson Bennett ended up winning the national championship. A lot of players and a lot of the media believe that JT should have started in those playoff games. So I think the consensus around the country is he's still a solid starting quarterback, and there's certainly a lot of spots. It's not like the NFL where there's only 32. But yeah, I agree with your grade here, B-. I think that it's going to work. West Virginia, they added a couple really solid transfers. They have Lynch Dixon actually too. So they'll have solid starting running back, solid starting quarterback duo in the Big 12.
I think it's maybe a little bit kind of the situation like Kelly Bryant, what happened to him a few years ago, where he ended up transferring to Missouri. Now, Stetson Bennett is not quite the prospect that Trevor Lawrence was.
Maybe he is.
But he did win a championship. So also that'll be interesting to pay attention to. Is Stetson Bennett going to start for Georgia in 2022? Because they have Gunnar Stockton, they have Brock Vandagriff too, waiting, and Stetson decided to come back. So
The way Kirby runs the program, I can imagine that it's going to be his to lose. Like there won't be a battle per se, but the leash will be tight. But I think since he won them a national championship, there's going to be a little bit of a the leash won't be as tight to start off with because like, oh, it's Stetson Bennett, national championship winning quarterback. How long will that last? But if he plays like he did last season, he'll start all 13 games for sure.
Yeah, I think so. But as we were talking about with JT Daniels, I think around a B minus B.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a good pickup for West Virginia. Their quarterback prior to JT Daniels entered the portal, and I believe went to Western Kentucky, if that is correct.
Yeah.
So
he's not on this list.
They needed a quarterback, and they got JT Daniels, who has solid upside, especially with his former OC.
Yeah. And the next one that you see on your screen is Jaden Daniels. He went from ASU to LSU. He is one of those guys that had a solid freshman season at Arizona State. A lot of people, like JT Daniels, assumed he would be one of the next big quarterbacks in the whole college football landscape. And I think he kind of slowed down a little bit. He came more down to earth.
He really did.
And I think for LSU, he's going to be a solid quarterback and a very talented roster. And obviously, when Brian Kelly seeks you out, he sees a little bit of talent in you. But it's going to be a quarterback battle. It's not immediately going to be given to him.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be a battle between him, Miles Brennan, who's got a lot of experience in that LSU system. I guess not with Brian Kelly, but he's been at LSU for a while, and Garrett Nussmeier, and Walker Howard as well, who I believe is a true freshman. But yeah, like you said, Jaden Daniels, his best season was probably his freshman season, and ever since that, I mean, Arizona State has kind of gone downhill since then with the allegations with Herm Edwards. But he had his best rushing season last season, but throwing the ball was not great. I believe it was 10 touchdowns to 10 interceptions. So that's not quite the ratio you want.
We speak from experience. It's not very good.
Also, you wonder. It was a pretty negative reaction that Arizona State players gave when they saw that Jaden Daniels was transferring. So maybe that's a red flag. But also an interesting tidbit, Mike Denbrock, who is now the OC, I believe, at LSU, is coming from Cincinnati, where he worked with kind of a similar quarterback in Desmond Ridder, at least similar body type, athletic, kind of lanky, thin. So maybe they get similar production out of Jaden Daniels.
Jaden Daniels is no stranger to big games, which if he starts at LSU, he's going to face every single week. We remember that Oregon game against Justin Herbert, now an NFL starting quarterback, top 5 quarterback maybe. Pretty much outplayed him in that game. I think pretty much took Oregon out of the playoff race. And for Oregon, in that point, it was one loss and you're done. So it's a low risk, high reward type thing. So if you bring him in and it doesn't work out, you have several other options or suitors to be able to fill that spot. It's not like he has to be the guy. So there's not as much pressure for Brian Kelly. So I gave it a B. There's potential.
I gave it a B minus. Kind of the same thing with JT Daniels, I believe. But it's also an interesting little thing to note that Miles Brennan was originally in the transfer portal, but decided to come back to LSU. So Brian Kelly convinces him to come back, so maybe that's kind of a sign that he might be the starter going in the season. But like you said, low risk, high reward, I think.
Yeah. Well, this next one will be fun.
On to Caleb Williams.
Arguably the biggest name with the transfer portal.
I think he was definitely the biggest one. I believe he's third best. He has the third best odds for the Heisman coming into the season. If it's not third, it's definitely near there. But he transfers from Oklahoma to USC, follows Lincoln Riley, along with a whole bunch of Oklahoma players. And, he had a very, very good freshman season, took over for Spencer Rattler, and, Lincoln Riley gets his guy. I mean.
Yeah, they pretty much get to pick up where they left off last year, and I think in an easier conference, too. The only hurdle is Oregon, and I don't think they face them until it would be the conference championship, I believe, but I could be potentially wrong. I'm not too familiar with Pac-12 division, where everybody is, but I gave this grade an A+. There's thousands of citizens in Norman that just cried in anger. I sense a disturbance in the force, Patrick. I can feel it. A lot of angry Oklahoma fans.
There's a lot of anger. I mean, if they want to play the villain role,
they could.
We need some more. We need some more storylines.
Somebody other than Bama or Clemson or Ohio State this year.
We need some we need some different characters, and USC I think is looking like they are going to be the villain. And yes, you're right. They would not be playing each other until the Pac-12 championship.
Oh, that's good. I was right.
But like you're saying, really the only negative with this whole thing is that there's probably going to be a lot of people that are going to be kind of have a little bit of hate, have a little bit of anger towards this USC team.
I will definitely I don't think they will, because USC is going to get a lot of primetime slots this year, just because the noise will be over the top. USC will probably be in the top 10 in the AP poll. There will be a lot of just noise and buzz. Even if they do play at like 10 o'clock at night, I'll stay up to watch every single game, just because it's going to be Caleb Williams. It's going to be a Heisman favorite, Lincoln Riley, USC. Because when USC, like certain programs of college football are really good, like Texas, Michigan, USC, it just makes college football better.
Yeah, Lincoln Riley has caused me to like USC a little bit less, and I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna cheer a little bit against them this year. So
I'm neutral right now. They haven't given me a reason to dislike them yet.
I mean, USC, I've never really had any animosity towards, but Lincoln Riley, not my favorite dude.
Maybe I should join the hype train of the hatred.
So let's pray on their downfall this season. Join me.
All right.
Like the Sith Lord. I mean, you were talking about. You had a Star Wars reference in there, so
I have a Star Wars
one.
reference like almost
I had to
every
get
time.
one in.
I need to drop in a Harry Potter reference, which you haven't seen for the love of film. It's out now. Order the Phoenix.
You just love plugging stuff every single week.
I got my guys at Tigervision.
You got it. But well done. You're very good at it. Anyways, we both gave him an A+ because it's Caleb Williams.
Yeah.
And like it's Bryce Young, it's C.J. Stroud, and then it's probably Caleb Williams. So you're getting pretty much a top 3 quarterback.
Absolutely. Okay, the next one, the $1 Million Man, Quinn Ewers.
Quite literally.
So, like the caption says, Texas sometimes is back, but Ewers definitely is back in Texas.
He is definitely back in Texas. Yes.
Based on source and in the picture?
He is in Texas right now.
Yeah, so this is an interesting one for me, because I don't think I buy the hype as much as everybody I think does, because obviously he's a phenomenal quarterback that came out of high school. Like he was one of the Trevor Lawrence guys that like just comes out. The expectations are going to be unbelievable, and just like the ratings, the 5-star stuff like that.
He was a perfect rating by the 24/7 Sports Composite.
Like I said, like he's just one of those crazy talked about recruits, and he played 2 snaps at Ohio State and tails right back to Texas.
The whole thing is super interesting. I really don't understand what was going on there. I mean, honestly, I believe it was just for the NIL portion. But, Texas, he had originally committed to him.
Yeah.
He decommits, goes to Ohio State, and is now back at Texas. So, like, he was the top recruit in what was supposed to be the 2022 class. Because he reclassified.
He's a year younger than all. Is he technically a freshman still?
Well, now he's technically a sophomore because
What's his
he's been in college.
classification?
Because he came in. Actually,
is he still?
He came in during the spring of last year.
And he didn't play.
So he should be a sophomore right now.
Did he have a red shirt?
Basically, Texas gets a fresh prospect with only. I mean, he could leave in 2 years to go to the draft, which
might be enough for them.
Yeah, which I guess is a little bit of a downside. You don't get the full 3 years, I guess. But again, it's Quinn Ewers who honestly kind of just illuminates, if that's the right word, like Texas Longhorns. He's from Texas. A bunch of Texas fans are excited about him. I'm sure if I was a Texas fan, I'd be very, very excited. I'm still excited to see him play. He's got an interesting haircut if you have not seen it.
Got the flow.
The
flow.
It's something, all right. But
not as good as the certain Clemson quarterback's flow a couple years back, but it's certainly flow.
Honestly, Trevor Lawrence's hair is not really flowy. I'm gonna be honest here.
Hold on.
Like this might be kind of a.
We might need to get Zach to cut the film because this might be
fans,
sinful.
It just goes straight down. It's not really flowy.
But like, don't you feel
like Justin
something whenever
Herbert is flow.
What? Nah, it's Trevor Lawrence, bro.
Justin Herbert is flowy hair.
Justin Herbert chopped
Trevor
his hair
Lawrence
off
is long hair. Well, it's back now.
It's back now, but he wasn't consistent with it. He doesn't love the flow like his fans do.
But Trevor, I personally enjoy it a lot. But Trevor Lawrence's hair is kind of just long. Like it isn't really flowy.
This is a debate for another time. This should be like, this should have been. 20.
It really just goes straight down though. Like pull up a picture of Trevor Lawrence.
I will.
It goes straight down.
I will.
It goes straight down.
Trevor Lawrence hair. I'm surprised he hasn't gotten ahead.
It goes straight down.
Look at that. Look at that. Look at the flow, bro.
Okay, that's while he's like running. Apologies, you can't see the photos we have,
Just
but
like
look up a photo of Trevor Lawrence.
My computer isn't loading that
when
well.
he's just standing there, it's long.
You're committing like treason against the higher Clemson population.
I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm just saying I don't really think it's flowy necessarily.
Your hair conversations and more here at Tigervision.
Yes, but you know, if you want to come at me in the comments or whatever, you're free to do that. You know, freedom of speech, but. I'm sticking with my take.
All right.
It's not really flowy.
Again, flow.
Not necessarily a bad thing. I'm just saying it's not flowy. It's straight down.
Comment down below. Team flow or team no? Which side are you on?
All right. Well, that's not fair. You make me sound like the bad guy. But anyways, I gave Quinn Ewers an A because he's the highest rated QB prospect of all time.
I'm giving him a B+. I just need to see him playing some more snaps, and the grade could improve. I don't know when Texas spring game is, unless they've already had it.
They have not already had it.
They have not had it? Okay. Well, I just want to see him.
Should be coming up.
I just want to see him some live game snaps before I jump the gun on the grade. But
gotcha.
I understand the hype for sure. He's certainly worthy of an A, but I'm just a little harsher today.
Your boy Bo Nix is up next.
My boy. I didn't give him a grade. Oh, I did. I did give him a decent grade. Okay, we'll get into that.
What'd you give him?
I gave him a B-, but we'll get into it. We'll get into it. Well, but anyways, my guy Bo Nix. So if you're a longtime fan of Cover 2, you've been here since like October. For some reason, I'm a big Bo Nix guy. I just love the way he competes.
Understand it, but
I don't even understand it. But maybe it's just because I have a lot of Auburn friends. But Bo Nix is my guy. He transferred from Auburn to Oregon. I will definitely be rooting for him in those sick Oregon unis. I give him a B- just because. At Bo Nix's best, he is pretty solid starting quarterback, but there's going to be a quarterback competition. He might not even start. And this gauntlet of USC, I don't think it can happen. But I think Oregon could definitely compete for the Pac-12. So I give him, it's like a borderline, it's like those 80.2 or something like that. It's really close to a C+, but you're just like right there. Yep. I'm just not sure.
Yep. You need your teacher to give you a bump.
Bo Nix needs me to round to the curve or whatever they do.
Yeah. I mean, it's kind of similar to Jaden Daniels where like there isn't much to risk here. Kenny Dillingham was his former OC back in 2019. Bo Nix has had a ton of offensive coordinators, kind of like Baker Mayfield a little bit. Kind of a similar situation.
Poor Baker.
But he's in a QB battle with Ty Thompson, who is Oregon's, I believe, highest rated recruit at quarterback ever. And supposedly he's been a little underwhelming so far. Bo Nix has. So I don't know if it's necessarily looking great for you.
I can just feel my heart being torn into pieces.
I gave it a like C+ kind of range.
That's fair. That's fair.
I mean, I've never been crazily high on Bo Nix. I think he is who he is at this point. I don't think we're going to see some sort of Heisman level campaign from him, but he might be able to be a solid quarterback. He has a lot of experience playing in the SEC.
So ironic. His first game was against Oregon as a collegiate athlete.
And now he's back.
And now he's an Oregon Duck.
Finish it out.
Okay. Should we include this next quarterback as our Lane Kiffin W of the week?
Okay, you got to be careful saying W of the week with what came out because
no, I mean just the quarterback, not what happened.
Okay.
No, I know.
Okay.
I would get in trouble.
I mean, we can talk about it real quick. Lane Kiffin, quick Lane Kiffin update. It won't be a full-blown segment, but it came out. If you haven't checked his Twitter, he took a prom photo with like 50 high school girls.
Yeah, I'm just saying I wasn't including it. I wasn't including it.
You got to be careful there, Lane.
Yeah,
you really we love the content, but you got to be really careful there. I mean, yeah, I guess maybe he never went to prom. I don't know.
Maybe this is his maybe he's just a neighborhood guy.
Maybe I mean, I'm sure he has a very nice house. It looked like a very nice pool. Maybe all the kids in the. I can check, but.
Because that would make sense if like it was all for friends, which is a lot of them.
I mean,
taking a picture like by his pool. But
he has 3 kids. I'm trying to figure out the age, but he
doesn't look like any of them are.
I honestly like it's
a
little bit.
One of them are 16 years old, so maybe.
Okay, so
it might have been his daughter, and then
if his daughter was there, then that's cool. But even then, it's still kind of weird. Like if you're in that position and you're like, let's all my friends take a photo with my dad for prom. That's a little bit weird.
And then he tagged it. He was like, yeah, the recruits, you better. He was very much like, hey, recruits, you want to come to Ole Miss?
Okay.
It was bad. It was
pause.
Pause. I know.
Pause is all over the place. Lane Kiffin, you got to be careful there.
But Jackson Dart,
who were actually
the coolest quarterback name, or one of them.
It is a top 5 QB name, I think.
Absolutely.
Honestly, ever, because he spells Jackson with an X as well.
Oh yeah, so he knows he's cool. He knows he's like that.
And also Dart, like he's throwing darts, obviously. He comes from USC, our second USC quarterback on this list, I guess.
Yeah.
JT Daniels.
We can, I know what you're talking about.
He gets Michael Trigg, his former USC tight end teammate, to come with him. He's gonna be in competition with Luke Altmaier. He was the 3rd-ranked transfer prospect behind Quinn Ewers and Caleb Williams. So.
I think this is one of those he'll get the job whenever he gets there.
Also, if you want to talk about flow, Jackson Dart has great flow.
Oh, he does.
He is a cool dude.
He's a cool.
Perfectly fits Southern California.
I would hang out with Jackson.
But he also gets Zach Evans to join him too, the running back from TCU. So Ole Miss is losing a lot of production. They're losing their top 3 receivers and top 4 rushers. But he has that dual threat ability that Lane Kiffin likes, that he liked with Matt Corral. There have been issues this spring with injuries to the receiving weapons and other skill position players. So he hasn't been able to see too much how much he is able to connect with the guys that are going to be at the top of the depth chart this season, him or Luke Altmaier. But
he'll make it work.
They'll be back in a few weeks before their spring game, and he'll be able to evaluate them more. Then I gave it an A because
me too. I think A-, but it's about the same.
Yeah, I mean, Ole Miss, they needed a quarterback. Matt Corral was potentially he's one of their most successful quarterbacks of all time. Of course, you got Eli Manning. You've got the older Manning, and Archie Manning. I'm sorry. I was drawing a blank. And also the branding is quite nice, I believe. Ole Miss is doing a very good job.
Lane Kiffin has made Ole Miss relevant.
He has made them very, very relevant. They have a nice brand going.
Done a very good job. All right, Patrick, are you ready for the most controversial one? Just because he's at USC.
Yes.
Our boy.
Not our boy.
Not anymore.
He's never my boy.
Yeah.
Spencer Rattler. That was who you were going to say?
Yeah,
right?
that's
okay.
what I was going to
he has gone from Oklahoma to U of SC.
Yeah, that's right.
Not USC.
Yeah, you got to include that of, or someone will get mad.
I mean, it's kind of a toss-up on what kind of player is going to show up. Is he going to be the quarterback that was the Heisman favorite, Heisman preseason favorite last season, or is it going to be the dude that gets benched for another grad student?
Oh, no.
Gonna have to wait and see. I mean, we've talked about this a little bit. Shane Beamer has a great culture going on, and maybe that leads to Spencer Rattler being included in that culture, and they have a great season.
I think it's so important for Spencer Rattler was finding a place that has the appropriate culture to kind of revitalize him. Because I think a lot of the things that we've heard about Rattler is that he's kind of not everybody's favorite person in the world. Yeah. And going to a place where there's stability, there seems to be a family vibe going. A lot of people, even Clemson fans, can tolerate Shane Beamer. Like Muschamp, we loved him because he stunk. Yep. But not like our favorite guy in the world. Shane Beamer and Dabo are like homies now. It's insane.
I mean, Shane Beamer is just a cool guy.
Yeah. Despite the fact that he chose the South Carolina Gamecocks. But
he's still the only coach that's ever gotten a Mayo bath.
Yeah.
So
and he got a concussion. I'm still convinced about that.
They have a very, very tough schedule. South Carolina does, because they have to play the SEC and they also got to play Clemson.
They got to play us in Death Valley finally, first time in years.
But you know, I don't know. I think it's
I'm very
around a
split.
B-ish.
I'm torn.
I don't. It could turn out one of two ways. I think if he has a decent season, South Carolina is going to be a very, very tough team to play. A team that could upset the likes of Georgia, Alabama.
They think, to me, they feel like a 9-3, 8-4 team that's going to be tough, but they're just not going to be as good as a Bama or a Georgia. They're just going to be like what Florida was when they had Kyle Trask.
Someone kind of like. Oh, so you're saying maybe like SEC championship?
They won't be as like explosive as them, but they think they'll finish about the same.
I think they're somewhat similar to what Arkansas was last year.
Okay, that's more what I was going for. Thank you.
But
that makes more sense.
Yeah, I think he's maybe like a B-ish grade.
All right. We've got a lot of quarterbacks and not a ton of time. Do we want to get Dylan Gabriel and then rapid fire the rest, or we want to wrap up?
Yeah, we can do that.
Just wrap
Dylan
up.
Gabriel. Quickly transferred from UCF to Oklahoma. He was a very decent quarterback before he got injured.
Oh, absolutely. Venables gets his guy. This is another one that Venables wants to come in and do the all-in stuff and the best of the standard, which we're watching you, Venables.
He put that up in the locker room.
We're watching you.
If you do not know, Clemson, we had that first.
Yeah, that's ours.
But anyways, like you were saying, you know, considering Oklahoma lost a ton of talent to the portal.
Oh, this was a saving grace.
Yeah, they lost 2 5-star QBs in the portal. They lost a ton of recruits. They kind of got as good of a replacement as possible.
Oh yeah. And
they kind of mitigated the damage.
They get Jeff Levy coming in as
Jeff
OC.
Levy from Ole Miss, worked with him at UCF too. So you know, you got a little bit of familiarity there. I think Dylan Gabriel is going to be very, very good at Oklahoma. I think Oklahoma, considering how much they lost, I think they're still going to be a very solid team.
Absolutely. Especially their defense is going to be so much better just because bringing Venables in, he's going to bring in a certain style of defense that the Big 12 has never seen in a while. So that'll be certainly interesting. A Big 12 team that will play defense.
And they're going to be pretty exciting on offense as well because Dylan Gabriel, Jeff Levy are going to be aggressive. They're going to take shots deep. They're going to score a lot of points. So I really like this one. Yeah,
it's going to be insane next year.
This is going to be a very, very fun season.
And we're just talking quarterback transfers. There's been a lot of other moving parts in the behind the scenes. Like there's a QB battle at Clemson. Georgia, can they defend? Alabama's going to be looking for revenge. Ohio State will be super good. Like there's so many. Oh my gosh! Can we just get to September?
I mean, I'm gonna give this one an A. I really like this one.
I agree.
This might be. Honestly, this might be my favorite one out of all of them.
I think this is the most. He will come in. There's like the least of doubt surrounding this one. Like he's going to be a solid fit with this team.
Yeah. So, there you go. Quickly, Keaton Slovis goes from USC to Pitt. He gets Jordan Addison back, the Biletnikoff winner, Pat Narduzzi. He gets a quarterback. Kenny Pickett might have been the most successful Pitt quarterback of all time.
Big shoes to fill.
Yeah.
But there's it's a slightly weaker conference with the ACC. They don't have to play Clemson this year, even though they beat them last year. So, moving on, I give them a B-.
I did as well.
I think there's potential there to give Pittsburgh a replication of last year, but Clemson's going to be hungry. Well, I think it very much depends on Clemson because I think they can take care of their side of the conference.
Yeah. Well, I think you say he's going to a weaker conference. I'm not totally positive about that. I mean, you've got Pitt, you've got NC State, who's going to be really good. You got Wake Forest, you've got Clemson, you've got North Carolina, you got Miami.
USC and Oregon are probably better than like just all those teams that you.
I don't know, dude.
I take USC in a lot of, especially with the talent.
I gotta wait.
Maybe I'm buying the hype. Maybe I'm just buying too much of the hype. Yeah, I gotta settle down.
I think it's very equal.
Gotta cool my jets.
So I think he has a lot of stability. Keaton Slovis, he's been playing for a while.
Yeah.
So Pitt will probably won't reach the heights that they did last year.
But they're certainly going to be around town. They'll be good.
Yeah. Any other ones quickly?
Let's do Calzada and Johnson really quick.
Yeah. So we got one dude transferring from LSU to Texas A&M and one transferring from Texas A&M to Auburn. A lot of movement. as you've kind of noticed, there's a lot of movement between kind of the same teams: LSU, Auburn, USC. Who else? Ole Miss, UCF.
Oklahoma is the center of it all.
It's a lot of players moving to the same 5 or 6 teams.
Yeah.
So, Max Johnson is going to Texas A&M. He joins his brother. Funny enough, the #1 tight end in the 2022 class. So they're going to be able to link up, throw some touchdowns together.
That's so cool.
Max Johnson, he's a lefty, so that Texas A&M might have to change their whole playbook around. I know coaches don't always like to do that, so that might throw into who starts between him, Haynes King, who has experience.
He could be a Stetson Bennett type, where he could, because this Texas A&M roster feels like it's going to be the best they've had. He could just game manage.
If he can game manage, Texas A&M might be very, very good.
Yeah.
They just need a competent quarterback, I think.
They do.
Their offense last season kind of lacked explosives a little bit, so
except when they played Alabama.
You want to try and get somebody who can exploit those matchups, but I think they'll be pretty solid. We got to wait and see if Max Johnson even starts, but Zach Calzada going from Texas A&M to Auburn.
Solid.
Auburn is a basketball school now, so they don't really care too much about their football team, I don't think.
What is Auburn football anymore? Are they just
there?
They're just a certified dumpster fire?
I mean, they're probably what SEC team is worse than them? Vanderbilt, Missouri. Is that it?
Oh no, that is not good.
It honestly.
Maybe Mississippi State. Maybe.
No, Mississippi State I think will be pretty decent this year. Honestly.
No. Yeah, every other team is.
I honestly think Auburn is a bottom 3 SEC team.
Wow. How far they have fallen. Mm-hmm. That's an interesting way to wrap up these QBs.
Yeah. I want to mention a few others that you might want to pay attention to a little bit real quick. John Reese Plumlee is going from Ole Miss to UCF.
JRP?
He is one to look out for. I was always very high on him. Of course, he moved positions to kind of wide receiver the past few seasons, so he'll be one to look out for. Jack Miller is transferred from Ohio State to Florida. He was in the same class as C.J. Stroud, so he lost that QB battle last year. He was the 3rd string this year behind Kyle McCord and C.J. Stroud. So he's been supposedly impressing in practices and might even challenge AR-15.
That's such a dope name.
For that starting position, Billy Napier looks to be rebuilding that Florida culture, so that's one to look out for as well. Casey Thompson, Nebraska fans are supposedly all in on him.
We'll see about that.
He had some solid moments for Texas last year. And then Michael Penix Jr. has gone to Washington. Adrian Martinez has gone to Kansas State. And Hunter Johnson has gone to Clemson.
Welcome back.
Although I believe he is not here just yet.
Never mind.
But that'll pretty much do it this week. We try to get through as many as we could. There's a lot of them. Anything else, Grayson?
Just get ready for, if you enjoyed our Back to Our Roots with this college football transfer special, as I like to call it. Get ready because a lot of stuff is going to start picking up. We're going to have potentially a draft.
Yeah, I think next week we might try and do a mock draft for the NFL draft, which will be on Thursday. So
we'll see how Team Grayson and Team Patrick stack up. The NBA playoffs are starting this week.
Yep.
My Boston Celtics are playing the Nets, sadly, so that'll be fun. That's our grand prize.
Good luck to y'all.
Yeah. MLB starting up, so if you're a big fan, happy opening week. And if you are subscribed to Tigervision, check out the other shows listed below. We got For the Love of Film. We got a lot of other great stuff, a lot of great content. So just check it out, guys, and thank you so much as always.
Yeah, thank you all for tuning in, and thanks to Zach in the back.
Zachary.
Subscribe, like, comment,
do all the
retweet, do everything.
Just the next person you see, scream cover 2 to them.
What he said. Thank you all for tuning in, and we'll see you all next week. Have a good one.